to the Business and Bubbly podcast. This is the place for women in business who are on the journey of building their big ideas and want to have fun along the way. It's for those of us who also know we aren't meant to do business or life alone. Hi, I'm Shelly Jefferis, your host and the founder of Business and Bubbly. Think of this kind of like the can I pick your brain chats that you've always wanted to have with those who are doing epic things, plus business besties, hype girls, and getting into massive action towards your next big idea all in the same place. Oh, and bubbles, because if you're not having fun along the way, you're not doing it right. Together, we'll unlock what it means to be seen, known, heard, and championed all along the ups and downs of entrepreneurship and being a woman in business building big dreams. Each week, I'll bring you a quick sip business tip, as well as interviews from top experts that make you feel like you're getting bottle service for your business. We're having the raw and real conversations and chatting about all the things, the messy middle, the pivots, scaling, the good days and the bad days, because here we do real. It's where we can work hard, play hard, cry it out, and dance it out all at the same time without being judged. This is a place where we are in the arena together and we are each other's biggest fans because most of us have enough comments from the cheap seats. It's where our too much is par for the course and where the gaps of our not enough are filled in by the other epic women that are around us. It's where we can be unapologetic about the mission we are on, about the big dreams on our heart, and the business we are building without having to be perfect or have it all together, or even pretend to. It's a supportive community where business is being done amongst like-minded women, because when money gets in the hands of good women, great things happen. It's a place where you have the support around you to get out of your comfort zone and go after your big ideas, because even when you fail forward or when you reach the top, you know it won't be alone. Also, if you know anything about me, you'll know that I'm obsessed with creating platforms that lift up other women to be seen and heard and known. So with that in mind, I'd like to invite you to list your business on our directory called Find Women in Business. All you've got to do is text the word directory to 833-231-8098, and I'll text you the link back to get your free listing. This is also a great way to connect with other women in business from around the world, so definitely check it out. And now let's get to the good stuff. Grab a glass of your favorite beverage, Prosecco, bubbly water, or whatever your flavor is, and let's dive in. Are you with me? Here we go. Welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you here. I'm your host, Shelly Jefferis. And today we have a very special guest, which this woman is just near and dear to my heart. Shelly, thank you so much for being here. Shelly Jefferis. She is one of our chapter directors, one of our community builders. She is an incredible woman in business. She's actually been a health and wellness professional for over 35 years. She began her career as a fitness instructor and personal trainer and began speaking, coaching, and educating others to be the best that they can be. She is positive, caring, and enthusiastic who truly has a heart to serve, and she loves nothing more than sharing, mentoring, and supporting others in their health and wellness journeys. It's really exciting that she just retired from a long career of teaching college. She was a college professor. And like I mentioned, she is one of our chapter directors in Santa Clarita, California. And she is building such a beautiful community out there. Shelly, thank you so much for being here.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Charity. That is so awesome. What a great introduction. Thank you for that so much. I so appreciate all of that. That's really, really kind. And it really sums it up. And I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, I want you to dive into a little bit of your backstory because what I actually love about this conversation and the experience that you have is that there is no doubt that you have picked up some gold nuggets and wisdom along the way that all of us need to hear. So, share a little bit about your journey and what got you here, and then even what invited you into taking the big step of being a chapter director and a community builder with us.
Oh, I love this. Okay, well, how much time do we have? No, I'm just kidding. That's always the magic question. Um,
Right.
so like you said, I actually started as a fitness trainer teaching aerobics back in the day. I many years ago. And it's really crazy to think because my love of fitness actually began in junior high, which is really crazy to think. But my junior high PE teacher was where I started my love for fitness. And the beautiful thing, I have been able to share that with her and thank her in person since then. And she's still around. We're friends on Facebook. It's really, really special. But anyway, that was the beginning. And years later, I decided to pursue a degree in kinesiology. And sometimes I get asked, what is kinesiology? And it's just basically the study of human movement. It's much more involved than that. A lot of science is involved, but that is what I pursued back in the early days. And I knew once I finished my degree that I wanted to go on and teach. And I wasn't sure. I was kind of at a moment where I'm either going to get my teacher credential or I'm going to get my master's degree. And um, I ended up interviewing for a graduate assistantship program at Cal State Northridge. Some of you might be familiar with CSUN. And I got hired for the position, which meant I was able to work on my master's degree and teach at the same time. And then I just loved it. And I knew I was waiting to see if that was going to come through, then that was gonna be my path, and that was my path for the last over 30 years. And so teaching college, I was led to, teaching after CSUN, teaching community college, and I've been doing that for many years, and then along with that, I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I feel like I've done side businesses that have matched the ages of my children. Back when they were babies, I was one of the one of the first licensees that then became a franchise. I became the owner of one of the locations of Stroller Strides. So if anyone's
Yeah.
familiar with Stroller Strides, back in the day, we would meet outdoors, moms and our babies in our strollers, work out, exercise, awesome community. I absolutely loved it. Connecting moms with each other. Some of those moms are now really close friends and still all these years later. So it was such a special time. And during that, I was also in charge of training and speaking across the country. I did some trainings for Stroller Strides and did some lecturing on postnatal fitness and nutrition, trained new instructors coming in, new franchise owners, and just had such a wonderful time with that. And so I did that for a while till my babies were no longer babies. And then I was in charge of the physical education program at my children's elementary school, did that for many years. And then during that time, I was led to the amazing health and wellness company that I'm still partnered with to this day, over 9 years later. That became a very big part of my focus. And all along the way, I was still teaching college. And what happened was, I've always been an adjunct professor, so I've taught part-time for the majority of the years. So that's how I have been able to manage a side business, in addition to that all through these years. And so, yes, I just recently retired from teaching, which is really quite wild to even like realize and to say out loud. Um, and I always say it doesn't mean I'm not going to still be working. I have some big passions and some big passion projects, if you will, that I'm working on. And so there will definitely be more in store. And I'm just excited to see where God takes me on this journey. And part of the journey has been creating communities, and part of that has been the support of other businesses in my community. And for a while, it was kind of in the back of my mind. I had thought about starting a networking group, and I never really knew exactly what it looked like, and I never really pursued it, but it was kind of there. And I one day on Facebook saw a picture or a post that Charity shared with a picture of two women and introducing our newest chapter directors. And I was like, huh, what is this about? So I reached out to Charity and we connected and did an interview. And next thing I know, I received an email saying, congratulations, you are the Santa Clarita's chapter director for business and Bubbly. And super exciting time. I just remember getting that email and just feeling so excited. And it's just another beautiful way to have a community, connect women who are doing business and, supporting one another. And I am just such a huge proponent of community. And especially now at the stage that we are all in the world.
Yeah.
And so it's a beautiful way to support women in business, and I'm loving it. And I'm meeting new women and making new friends every single month, which has been amazing. And in addition to that community, I'm also creating a mom's mentorship program, a wellness mentorship program for moms. I really, really believe there is such a need for that as well. As I feel like, and in talking to other moms, we tend to, many of us, put our health, put our self care kind of on the back burner. And so I really want to focus some time and attention effort in helping moms to put their health and their self care as a priority so that they can, feel their best, look their best, and just have a really wonderful quality of life. Not that they're not now, but I know from personal experience that we get kind of sometimes comfortable, right? We get kind of complacent and we feel good. We don't realize how much better we can feel and how much more joy we can experience. And I really, really want to help moms get to that place. And I feel like I'm really at that place and it's such a blessing. And I just want to share what I have learned through my journey of motherhood, which is almost 25 years now, and through my journey of being a health and wellness professional and combine those passions and share that with other moms. So
Mm.
that's kind of where I'm at right now.
I love that. And I love how there's has been a common thread throughout the different parts of your journey that you were sharing. And it really is community and leadership and service. And obviously, if you know you, just the passion that you carry, the excitement that you carry, like the genuine, like I absolutely consider you like everyone's, like you are the best hype girl.
Aw, you're so sweet. Thank you. I'll take that.
Like, amazing champion for those around you, and that is just such a beautiful thread throughout your journey. So what does that look like? Because I know that we have a lot of moms that listen to this. What would it look like? So say if a mom is kinda tired, is burnt out, I'm a mom, I've got an 8-month-old baby at the time that we're recording this. And so what does it look like for moms who maybe they're finding that they're not putting themselves as a priority? Like, how does that show up in their life? And what are some ways that they can begin to take care of themselves better so that they are showing up with joy, with enthusiasm, with feeling really, really good inside and out?
Well, I really think, I mean, a lot of different aspects to it, but I feel like it comes back to so much of the time just what's going on in our mindset, right? How are we speaking to ourselves and what are we giving ourselves permission to do or not to do? And that's where I feel a lot of it stems. And so I want to share what I've learned in that area with others and also bring in experts who can really work on that component to just realize that we don't have to feel guilty if we're going to like take a little time out or for perhaps take a little nap in the afternoon or whatever it is, or go away for a night or whatever it might be that we feel that we might need. And so there's definitely that component. And I also really believe so strongly in the not that just the exercise, but also how are we fueling our body? What are we putting in our body nutrition wise? Because that obviously makes such a big difference. And, for busy moms, we tend to just grab what's easy and quick and on the go, which many of us do. That's the society that we're in nowadays. So we want things quick. And I understand that. how can we make some healthier choices so that it's going to provide us with a very healthy system and energy for the long haul. Getting plenty of sleep is huge. So I know that can be a challenge, especially when you have a baby. You really, I mean, there's no way around it, right? We have to get up with them in the nighttime. So finding ways to deal with that in the best way that we can, because there's really no way around that. And it is temporary, luckily, even though when we're in the middle of it, sometimes it feels like it's not. Um, so all of those, I think, just tie so much together. Managing our stress, that's a real big one that I talk about, and finding ways to manage our stress through, again, getting enough sleep, getting proper nutrition, getting the exercise, and then just taking quiet downtime for ourselves. And I think that's probably one of the big areas that gets neglected. I don't know that I don't believe I really did that when my children were young. I just wasn't as cognizant of it as I am now. And of course, you know, it's easier for me now because they're grown and our youngest is 17. He's pretty much very, very self sufficient. So, yes, I mean, it does help and it is, you know, a little more advantageous at my stage of motherhood. But giving some little ideas and ways that moms can interweave it into their day is really what I want to do. And it doesn't have to be a lot. You know, it can be just stepping outside, getting some fresh air, being outside where it's quiet. I mean, I'm at a point in my life, and I don't know how you are, Charity, yet because your little ones are still so little, but I get up in the morning and I'm at a point where, and maybe it's because I'm older, but I really just want to have a little quiet time. Like, if I come downstairs, the TV's on, I mean, I always will walk outside and have a little quiet time and fresh air, but I'll even, like, drive in my car and just silence, and I started to do that a few years ago, and it's really, really nice. So, that's something else I would encourage moms to do. Just whenever you can, take some quiet time alone. It's really important.
No, I love that. I remember when I was in the fitness industry, similar to you, and it's like appointment after appointment and class and boot camp and all these things and all the people, and I would be done with my day and I would sit in my car and I'd like turn the radio off and I would just like sit in silence. And I'm like, oh, like no noise, no like booming whatever music in the background.
Right,
I'm like,
right.
anybody, like I needed that moment. And I would totally agree. Like the moments where, especially for me as a mom with littles, that quiet moment to myself is so important. And I've also, and maybe you can speak to this, like what does it look like when those moments are few and far between, and how can we really use those moments to get what we need for the rest of the day, even when that moment is small. And I'll even share this morning. Literally, I woke up before my alarm, and I'm in the middle of like breastfeeding during the middle of the night, so I'm up multiple times a night. But I woke up before my alarm, felt really good. It was actually at 5:43 this morning, and my alarm was set for 6:30 to get my other kiddo ready for school. And I was like, "Okay, I'm like woke up like just feeling really good." And I was like, how do I or I was like gonna like take a little time to read and like get up and do my own little thing. And my little girl, Eden, she's 8 months old, and she wakes up right around like 6:45 or 7. So I was like, okay, like I have an hour to myself. Oh, no. She woke up for some reason, it's always like Murphy's Law. I'm gonna wake up earlier than she typically does, and nope, she's awake. She ended up falling back asleep, and I was able to have those, like, 20 minutes to myself. But it was so funny. I'm like, "Really? Really?" Like, "Of course, this morning, I feel really good," and she just feels really good too, and she's awake with me. So those moments for us as moms are so needed, and I think one of the biggest things that I've found with that, and to make sure that not only that they happen besides just, like, sitting on the toilet for a minute by myself, but that it's the support around me that allows those moments to be longer, right? It's the community around me. Like, we both know that we're better together. We're not meant to do any of this stuff, life, business, motherhood, any of it alone.
Mhm.
So, why don't you speak to, obviously, as an expert community builder throughout your entire career, What would you say it looks like to have a really supportive community around moms and those that are building business?
Well, I think that's just you just hit the nail on the head. That's like number one. And I think that we, I mean, I haven't met your husband, but I know, um, because I know you, that we are blessed with supportive husbands and hands on, that's always how it's been with my husband as well. And so that's been a huge blessing through the years. So 100%. And, that's not always the case, so I think that's, of course, such a huge blessing, and it's so true is having that support and having that network, not just for not only business, but whatever we are whatever we are working towards in our life or whatever we are involved in is so, so important, and, when I think back to being a part of Stroller Strides, I just think that for so many of those moms, of course, many of them, it was their first time to be a mom. And so having that connection, the community, being around others who understood what the moms were going through and being able to relate to other moms was huge. Like it's priceless. And I'll never forget one mom who was dealing with postpartum depression and I'm not saying, medication isn't needed, but there is a time and place for it. However, she came to Stroller Strides, got involved, the combination of exercising, being around other moms, being outdoors, all of that experience, she she completely felt better after she experienced that. So, that just made my heart so happy. And that's just a prime example when you're around a community that supports you in what you are doing, encourages you, and it just there's just no words. I mean, it really truly is priceless. And so in any area of our lives, right? Rather whatever it is we're doing, even if we're wanting to start an exercise program and we get some people that are around our circle that support us and they're doing the same thing, keep each other accountable, right? And so it's for any aspect of our lives, I feel like really, really important.
Yeah. So, what tips would you have for moms and women in business when it comes to wellness and really feeling good from the inside out?
So tips for wellness when it comes to women in business. I think it just comes back to again putting our self-care, putting our health as a priority as best that we can. And I always will make sure and make clear that there's never a perfect scenario, as you know, right? Like how your morning went. Oh, I'm gonna have some quiet time. No, that didn't
No.
happen. um, so again, it's weaving in little moments, and I think of it kind of similar to exercise. When the research came out not that many years ago that said, listen, you don't have to do all of your exercise in one 30-minute bout. You can actually break it up into 3 10-minute bouts throughout the day and still get the same benefit. So if we kind of can look at it that way, that, okay, I don't have to have a big, long chunk of time, just a little bit of time. So maybe a little time first thing in the morning, maybe a little time midday, and then a little time at night. Finding that just time, quiet time again, um, just to focus and kind of come back and refocus on ourselves and what's important for our health is so so important. Um, and again, it does have to be scheduled in, right? If we want to fit in some exercise time or even just reading a book or some time with a girlfriend and going to meet for coffee or dare I say a little glass of wine or bubbly, I mean, schedule that time in again. Sometimes that's what's required. It doesn't just come naturally a lot of times, or it's not going to happen unless we schedule it. And, I can use an example just the other night. I was invited with some other friends to go to the baseball game, the Dodger game, and it was so much fun. And it just reminded me of the fact that we haven't been putting in enough effort and scheduling moments like that. Like I tend to just kind of spur the moment, meet up with friends, but one of our friends had tickets to the game and she invited us a few days prior And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, how fun." And so I think it was also impressionable on all of us that this is something we need to do more of, but
Yeah.
it needs to be scheduled. So I just that was another confirmation for me Friday night, the importance of scheduling just that time with girlfriends, time with our husband, all of that is so important.
Yeah, it really takes intention. Like, it's not gonna
Mm,
happen by accident.
right.
That stuff happens on purpose. Like, a healthy body inside and out happens on purpose. A healthy mind happens on purpose. Because I remember hearing that when there are gaps in the story, our brain automatically, if you're talking to someone, you're watching whatever on TV, like you name it, when we hear something, our brain automatically fills in the gaps with negativity and with survival
Mm,
versus, like, the best case scenario and,
right.
"Oh," right, like, "She didn't text me back," like, "Oh my gosh," like, she's mad at me, da 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 da." It's like, no, well, what if she just, like, forgot because she's a mom?
Exactly.
Right?
So, so true. Yeah. We always conjure all these stories up in our minds, right? And most of the time, they're not even, like, accurate.
Totally.
So it's so true.
I
But I
love
think you're saying being intentional,
yeah,
that's huge.
yeah,
And I guess there's a balance too, because I do know for me personally, I'll tell girlfriends to, like, spur the moment, "Hey, if you have time on a Thursday and you look like you have some time, text me. And if I'm free, I'll come meet you." So there's that, there's also that part of it too. It doesn't have to be so rigid that, you can't go outside of your schedule, but sometimes it needs to be scheduled in order for it to happen.
yes,
So
absolutely. Well,
combination is good.
yeah, because there's a difference between being busy and effective,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
And there's no award for the most burnt out mom. There is no award for the most burnt out, exhausted, busy, overwhelmed woman in business. Like,
Hmm.
that stuff is for the birds, right? So
Right.
it's like it
Right.
takes intention, and what I've also learned is it's for different seasons, right? It's like knowing and honoring the season that we are in and what season we're going into so that we can then prepare and provide whatever support it is around us that we need for that season that we're
Mhm.
in and that we're preparing for. And sometimes seasons, like I know for me in this past season, obviously having a new baby, and for those of you who haven't necessarily heard, like she's our little rainbow baby. She was a 5-year journey where we journeyed through loss. And so for me, this is like one of the biggest, like she is literally like a dream manifest held in my arms, an answered prayer, walking, breathing, heartbeat answered prayer. And I really wanted to cherish that time with her and being pregnant. And so and even the newborn stage and just the sweetness and the slower schedule and what that looks like in having a baby. And so for me in that season, it looked like saying no a lot more. And it looked like not doing as many programs or workshops or events. Like I cut the personal things that I was doing by almost 75% as far as what I was doing with my ministry and a few other, the book writing and all this different stuff until it was the right season to say yes.
Mm, I love that. I love that. I I can relate. I can relate so much to that. Um, in so many ways. I feel like, looking back, my husband would always say, these are moments, these are years we can't get back.
Yeah.
And so I have always told myself all through the years, like, I'm also very grateful that he and I have been able to be there for the most part for everything with our children, and th- that I will always be so special to my heart. And I feel that so strongly, and I want that so much so for other moms and dads to be there for the moments as much as you can. You know, I, it, I I'll never forget one day leaving my daughter's dance class with her, and I was like, "Okay, Shelly, you're not gonna be able to go to everything. There's 2 of us and 3 of them." And going, "Okay." So I was like, I had that moment of acceptance, even though it was like, oh, I want to be at everything.
Totally.
But, I think my husband and I did pretty darn well through the years as far as that goes in trading. And he goes there, I go there. Um, and just really appreciating the moments. And I, like you, we had a gap. We struggled to have our third baby. And I'll never forget that moment in the kitchen in our other house where I just told my husband, I said, I can't explain it, but it's in my heart to have another child. And thank God he was open and willing. He was fine either way. I'm fine with two, but okay, we can try for a third. And so I know that feeling, like you're saying, is you want to be there for each moment. You want to just soak it all in. And um and if that's one message to get out to all moms, the best that you can, just to appreciate the moments. Because
Mhm.
they do. I mean, you already know this, but I guess I can speak too because my children are older, but it goes so, so fast. It goes so very fast.
Yeah,
And it's just
absolutely.
yeah, it's very special. It's just, very special.
Absolutely. I love even that we're just having this conversation because even as a mom and a woman in business, I know in the past it has been really, really easy for me to slip into the mom guilt when I'm working on my business or the business guilt when I'm with my kids. And and it wasn't until I really actually understood the assignment, right? Like I understood the assignment, like whatever that song, catchy, whatever, but the understanding the assignment of that season, and
Yeah.
like I said, it was like the assignment of this past season for me, it was connection, and it
Mm,
wasn't, like, blowing up my whatever business or, like, like, doing 17 ministry events or publishing another book, like, the assignment for that season was connection, and
mhm.
when we understand the assignment of a season, then what is really, really beautiful is that all of the other stuff that we think that we should be doing, all the things that we should all over ourselves, right? I should be doing this. I should be launching this. I should be creating this. I should, right? We should all over ourselves. But when we understand the assignment of that season and actually soften into that season, it is the most fulfilling way to live. And so then if you're a mom and now you're juggling this like entrepreneur and this mom thing and all this different stuff, like what does it look like even in 2-hour blocks where you are understanding the assignment of what it's going to take in your business. Perfect. I understand the assignment of this 2-hour block and I'm going to get it done. And then I understand the assignment of this, like the bedtime. I'm picking up my kids at 3 o'clock. The business gets shut down. I pick up my kid from school and it's dinner and it's bedtime and it's bath time and it's time with my husband. I understand the assignment of that block,
Mhm.
that time block. And so it's more of like coming into and softening under the assignment of those times. Um, and then there's another story that's coming to mind of it's an ancient book of wisdom, and it's one of my favorite books. And it was this group that they were a group called the Israelites, and they were traveling through a desert and they were being guided. They were being divinely guided by for me, it's God. You can fill in the blank for whatever you believe in, but they were being guided by God during the day and during the night. And it was this huge group of millions of people traveling through the desert. And the the speed that God was leading them and guiding them through the desert, he never led them faster than what the children could go.
Mm. Mhm.
And so it was like that actually gives me as a mom a lot of peace and understanding that the big dreams on my heart, that I will never be divinely guided to go faster and to build something that's going to like leave my family in the dust because they're a part of a dream for me,
100%.
right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. It's the biggest, most fulfilling job ever, and,
Absolutely.
you know, never ever taken it lightly, ever, never. And, I appreciate it so much, and I don't know, maybe it was because we had a bit of a struggle, but I don't even still, I don't I mean, that has added I think that probably added to it, but I don't know, it's just been such a wonderful journey, and I love what you're saying because it resonates with me right now, I could cry. But the season, this season for me, not to sound selfish, but it is a season, and I really, really believe that with my children now older and retiring from teaching, now is my season to really expand into all these dreams that I've had on my heart. And
Yeah.
I've worked on them a little bit here and there, but I'm like, okay, Shelly, now's the time.
Yeah.
Now is the time. And it's really interesting because I knew, I don't know, maybe about 4 years ago now that I was ready to be done with the teaching. And I believe me, I love to teach. I love for my students. I just knew there was something more for me to be doing. Um, and in fact, it's probably been more than 4 years ago now, quite frankly. But gosh, that really hit home the event that we were at. And one of the quotes that I have shared that Amy Porterfield shared about, what are you doing that's safe and what's keeping you stuck?
Yeah.
And I was like, ugh, that teaching for so many years was safe. It's what I knew. I feel like I was really good at it for, I mean, I would hope so after 30 plus years.
Yeah.
Um, but I enjoyed it, and it was a consistent, if you will, income, even though not, it wasn't like I was making millions, but you get into that I think as you get into that, again, comfortable situation and that routine that this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm gonna get, but being limited at the same time. And that really wore on me for a long, long time, not being able to choose, when I was going to teach, what I'm going to teach, how much am I going to teach, being limited on all of that. Whereas when we have our own business, we don't have those limits. And so I knew that and I felt that, especially starting with the health and wellness company that I started with over 9 years ago. That was the beginning of it for me going, okay, I can make my own hours. I can work as much as I want. There's some freedom out there to really grow and expand, and I'm in charge of that. Like, that's really a beautiful thing. But it took a while to get to this point, but what you're saying, it just rings so true for me because it is true. You have different seasons and it really matches what's going on with your children and their ages. And again, at this point, it's yes, I might be older. Yes, I coulda, woulda, shoulda. I can do that all day long, but that's not going to serve anybody and that's going to serve me. So I feel like this is definitely a season, an exciting one for sure.
It is. So what's on the horizon for you as you step into this new season of expansion, which I know we are working on a few things with you, or I'm kicking your booty to get a podcast out, which is
Yep.
so exciting. But
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
on the horizon? What are you expanding into? Because I know a big thing for us, and this is just another really great event that we were at Lindsay Schwartz, Powerhouse Women, which is another
Mhm.
incredible community. And they were talking about obviously like styling your higher self and stepping into and owning like that next version of you, which we talk about too, just being a growth environment. But for you, like what expanded and fully expressed version of you are you being invited to step into and what's next for you?
Well, I most recently heard the term multi-passionate, and I'm like, that would be me. But it's all connected, right? And I know you can relate to that. So it's not so much that it's like bing, bing, bing all over the place. It's all connected. It's just serving people in various ways. And so it's obviously our business and bubbly community, growing that and having the opportunity, thanks to you, to speak at our event. And that's definitely something that I've been wanting to do more and more of, is
Yeah.
have more speaking engagement. So I'm very excited about our event the end of the month, which we can share in a moment about, right?
Okay.
Um, and expanding, working with moms, really putting my effort and my time, my energy into that and serving other moms, and also getting a podcast launched. I've known that for, again, 4 or 5 years ago. I was like, I want to do a podcast. Oh, and the name came to me. Everything came to me. And then I went, oh, let's wait, So now it's like, okay, no more waiting. And
Yeah.
it's really, again, just to serve people and to get messages out. And it's for me, I just love hearing other people's stories and I love sharing those stories with others. So that's another big one. And then I will continue to grow my health and wellness business. I will continue to share about healthy, clean living. That's another big passion of mine. I have a masterclass about that very topic, and it's really more about being aware, just raising awareness of what's going on. What are we being exposed to, and what can we do to reduce that toxic exposure that we're being exposed to on a day-to-day basis? And, three big moments for me that really brought that more so to the forefront for me personally was one when I first became pregnant, looking more at labels more intentionally. And then the second moment was when my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And then a few months later, she lost her battle. And then 10 years later, my dad was very, very sick and he lost his battle with his illnesses. So each of those moments kind of catapulted me a little bit more to do more and to learn more. And I just want to continue to share that message with others. And again, it just comes back again to my mission and my goal just to share with others a way just to feel your best, look your best, feel your best, and experience life to the fullest, the best that you can. And again, it's not about perfection, and we still enjoy ourselves along the way for sure. But what are some actions we can take and decisions we can make that help us to be the best versions of ourselves?
So
Uh,
good. Well, I love it, Shelly. I'm sure that people are that as they're listening, they are gonna want to learn more about what you're up to, especially for moms and making it easy for them to feel good on the inside out. Where can people find you, follow you, dive into your world, ask questions, share all the fun things?
I would say the best place right now is either Instagram or Facebook. I always encourage others, message me if you need information or just have a simple question. I'm happy to help in any way that I can. So Instagram is at Wellness with Shelly J. And then my Facebook is my full name, Shelly Newman Jeffries, Jefferies. And those are probably the best places right now. Just shoot me a message and I'm happy to answer questions. I'm happy to lead you to any of my services if I can be of service. And just excited for what's in store and what's ahead.
I love it. Well, we're excited for you, Shelly, and just to see you
Thank you.
grow. Really excited for you to continue to grow Santa Clarita and the community, the beautiful community that you are fostering there. It has just been, I know I've heard stories from you and seen fun pictures, but just a really beautiful, it seems just like a really rich and in-depth, like genuine connections there in Santa Clarita. And it's an honor to have you as our leader there and to pour into the women in our community there. So love you, friend. So proud of you. So excited for you. Love being on this journey with you. Thanks for being on this show. And you guys will put everything in the show notes so you can for sure check that out. But thank you, Shelly, for your time and for sharing
Thank you,
part of
Charity.
your
And
wisdom.
thank you for all that you do. And I'm honored to be on this journey with you too. It's just such a blessing. And um, just thank you for everything. And I love you so much.
All right, girlfriend. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, talk to you soon.
Thank you so much for listening to the show. I hope it brought some value and some fun into your business and life. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast, and even share the episode with a fellow business bestie who you know will love it. It helps us continue to attract top-level guests and reach more and more women who are on their journey in business just like you. Remember that when money gets in the hands of good women, great things happen. Cheers to your success.